Happy Sunday, everybody. Happy Labor Day weekend to everyone. I hope everyone's having a nice, relaxing, restful, enjoyable, family loved-filled Labor Day weekend. And so I wanted to get together with you guys today, and obviously the Kamala Harris CNN interview is not breaking news today, understandably, but I know that a lot of people probably just saw clips, didn't really watch it. We kind of live in an age now where people don't really watch things. They sort of just digest sound bites. I'd like to remind everybody that that's actually a hugely a hugely influential reason why I walked away from the Democratic Party, because I spent many years as a liberal and a leftist being fed sound bites, little pieces of information that were being spun out of context and believing them because thinking that I could trust the mainstream media. I consider myself to be a person who was thoroughly brainwashed by the left-wing media. And I don't want to see that happen on either side of the aisle. So I don't like that we live in a time now where information is coming so fast and so quickly and in these tiny little packages, tiny little 15-second, 20-second, 30-second sound bites, and people are kind of assigning their own meaning to what is happening and editorializing on the content and what's going on. And it's something that happens on both sides of the aisle, frankly. So I thought, why don't we actually watch the whole thing together? Imagine that. I don't actually know how long it is. I've got it here broken into 3 parts. What do we have? 8.5 minutes, 10 minutes, and 8 minutes. So what do we have? 16, 26. All right. So we're looking at roughly 27 minutes of actual interview footage. I think we can make it, people. I understand 27 minutes is not 27 seconds, which is the approximate maximum attention span that people have these days, but we can do it. And to that point, before we jump in, before we get started, I'm also going to say that, we're increasingly moving as a society into these, people are digesting their information in 2-sentence tweets or posts on X or 30-second reels, 60-second reels. I am going to continue to make full-length videos, like the video that I just put out, 9 minutes long. 9.5 minutes long, actually. My first video that I launched was about 6 minutes, a little over 6 minutes long. I'm not going to stop doing that. And in fact, if it comes to a point where I start, losing audience, or my audience becomes, or my growth becomes stagnant because people literally cannot be bothered to watch a 6-minute video or a 9-minute video, I accept that. I mean, I would rather be putting out really quality information and quality content in the amount of time that that content takes than have some sort of explosive growth because I'm putting out 20-second clickbait sound bites that mean nothing. So I just want to throw that out there. I'm going to continue. To me, it's like an integrity thing, and it's a importance of pursuit of truth thing, and that's always going to be priority one for me. So hopefully you guys will stay with me for a long time as we continue this journey together, doing social commentary, political commentary, cultural commentary, and just know that I am going to always um, put out content and the length of that it needs to be able to actually get to the truth, find the truth. And so I'll shut my mouth because I'm sure you're anxious to get into this. Let's do it. So this afternoon, as we embark on this journey together, I'm going to put the chat up on the screen. I'll go ahead and do that right now so you guys can read your own comments. This is simultaneously streaming to X, YouTube, and Facebook. X is, of course, the platform that's a little more open and a little less suppressed than the others. So despite the fact that I actually have an incredibly large audience on Facebook and I have an incredibly large audience on YouTube, I expect there's probably like 13 people watching on YouTube and Facebook. But right now on X, I think we're well over 1,000. Yeah, we're 2,000 people. So we have 2,000 people currently watching on X, and I think probably like 14 on Facebook, even though my audience sizes are not that much different. But that's where we are with suppression these days. Anyway, no matter what platform you're watching on, do me a favor. If you're on X, hit repost. If you're on Facebook, please hit share. And if you're a YouTuber, just watch along with us. Grab the link afterwards and share it out to your friends and family. Encourage them to watch. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and the Walkaway Campaign YouTube channel. Follow me on X at Brandon Strock, and you can also follow me on Facebook, same at Brandon Strock. Of course, my name is spelled like this. All right, without further ado, let's dig in. Let's do this, people. This is going to be fun. By the way, I'm super proud of myself because even though I've been doing this for like 6 years, I just learned how to stream content live and react to it. I know how to do live streams, but I have not known how to actually like play content, picture in picture, and react. Whatever, I'm an idiot. But I learned how to do it this weekend, and we're going to have fun. All right, so let's go. Let's start with part one. Kamala Harris, Tim Walz sit down for their first interview with CNN. Oh, just to give you a tiny bit of context before we get started, I myself have only seen a few clips from this. I have not watched it, so we're going to be reacting together in real time. I'll be pausing to make commentary, reading your comments. We'll interact together. I will try my best not to be super annoying and keep pausing every 5 seconds, but I do want to give you guys a heads up that in all likelihood, at least for the first 5 minutes, I'm probably going to be pausing a lot because that's how my brain works. And I'm probably going to be processing a lot of opinions and ideas early on. And then I will try my best to stop pausing it so frequently as we proceed together. All right, here we go. Bada bing, bada boom. Part one of Kamala Harris, Tim Walz CNN interview. Let's watch and react together. Here we go.
Madam Vice President, Governor Walz, thank you so much for sitting down with me and bringing the bus. The bus tour is well underway here in Georgia. You have less time to make your case to voters than any candidate in modern American history. The voters are really eager to hear what your plans are. If you are elected, what would you do on day one in the White House?
Well, there are a number of things. I will tell you, first and foremost, one of my highest priorities is to do what we can to support and strengthen the middle class.
Okay. So, all right. So I'm already kind of annoyed. This is her very first question that she's being asked. And after, by the way, super duper softball question. I mean, if you're somebody running for president, you should probably have a clear idea of what your plan is for day one. She's asked the question. She's looking off into the ether, kind of trying to think like, what is my answer to this question? What is it doesn't matter. Look, I'm not going to be here today to be like advocating for President Trump. I think everybody knows where I stand on everything. But I can tell you, if it were President Trump asked the question, what are you going to do on day one of your presidency? He would be making direct eye contact with the interviewer and saying, you know what, on day one, this is what my administration's going to do. Number one, this. Number two, this. Number three, this. These are our top priorities. There would be, And just about anybody else, I think, who knows what they're doing would not need to be looking off into the atmosphere searching for some kind of answer. So I just want to start off by saying I'm already annoyed. But let's keep going.
I look at the aspirations, the goals, the ambitions of the American people. I think that people are ready for a new way forward, in a way that generations of Americans have been fueled by hope and by optimism. I think, sadly, in the last decade, we have had in the former president someone who is really.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pause now because she's about to attack President Trump, which is fine. Whatever. It's, everyone has a right to attack their political opponent. But we're at least 45, maybe seconds to a minute into this answer, and she hasn't laid out a single policy point for her first day in office, not one. And she's circling around using buzzwords like middle class, like opportunities, but like literally not a single policy point. And this is really, I mean, like basic, obvious, like what politician, no matter what side, whether you're like the most fringe left democratic socialist or whether you are a fundamentalist Christian, hardcore nationalist right person, however you want to categorize that, like who doesn't want a good economy and a thriving middle class or all classes in their country to be I mean, this is sheer stupidity. Like it's some sort of revelation that, oh, well, my economy wants the middle class to do well. My administration wants us to have a strong economy. Well, no shit, Sherlock, but what is your plan? Like, what is your actual, like, name a policy that will actually get us to the ends that you're currently saying you're trying to get us to? Let's move on.
And pushing an agenda and an environment that is about diminishing the character and the strength of who we are as Americans, really dividing our nation. And I think people are ready to turn the page on that.
So what would you do day one?
Ready to ready to turn the page on dividing the nation. Literally, there is no group of people who has divided the American people more than the Democrats. The Democrats have divided us by race. They've divided us by gender. They've divided us by socioeconomic lines. They have divided us by sexual orientation. They have divided us by religion. They have divided us by immigrant status or non-immigrant status. And they have kept all of these different groups in their own ways separated and divided by fear. They have a formula and a plan for every single group, whether it's Black, brown, LGBT, immigrants, women, you name it, to keep them divided and keep them isolated and in a constant state of fear so that they can control them. As I've said before, control the way that they think so they can control the way that they feel so that they can control the way that they vote. That's what it's all about. I have never heard anybody in the MAGA movement fearmonger to Black people, Hispanic people, LGBT people, not to mention the biggest form of division that the Democrats have engaged in all along is othering the MAGA movement, literally referring to anybody who supports Donald Trump or supports the America First movement as a white nationalist, a Christian nationalist, a threat to democracy, a domestic terrorist, to the point where they have literally whipped their base into such a frenzy of hysteria that they are now shooting people in the head. So enough talk from Democrats about which group of people has caused division in this country. I have never felt divided by any messages that I have ever heard from Donald Trump or the MAGA movement. But I actually had to leave the Democratic Party because it was nothing but conversations about dividing us. If you are LGBT, you have to think this way, you have to vote this way. If you are Black, then you ain't Black unless you're supporting Joe Biden. If you're a Hispanic person, the Republicans are out to get you. They're out to take your rights away. They want to deport you. They hate immigrants. Shut up, Kamala Harris. All right, let's keep going.
Day one, it's going to be about, one, implementing my plan for what I call an opportunity economy. I've already laid out a number of proposals in that regard, which include what we're going to do
What are they? What are they?
to bring down the cost of everyday goods, what we're going to do to invest in America's small businesses, what we're going to do to invest in families, for example.
Yeah, no one's asking what you want to do or what the outcome is. We're asking, how are you going to do it? What is your plan? What is the policy plan to get us to the things that you're saying you want to do? No one cares what you want to do. We want to hear how you're going to do it. Tell us how you're going to do it.
The child tax credit to $6,000 for families for the first year of their child's life, to help them buy a car seat, to help them buy baby clothes, a crib. There's the work that we're going to do that is about investing in the American family around affordable housing, a big issue in our country right now. So there are a number of things on day one.
All right, I'm going to back it up just a little bit because I was reposting and I want to hear clearly what she just said. I'm just going to go back about 15 seconds and listen to that one more time.
Them buy a car seat, to help them buy baby clothes, a crib.
I'm going to go back a little more.
Tax credit to $6,000 for families for the. It's going to be about, one, implementing my plan for what I call an opportunity economy. I've already laid out a number of proposals in that regard, which include what we're going to do to bring down the cost of everyday goods, what we're going to do to invest in America's small businesses, what we're going to do to invest in families, for example, extending the child tax credit to $6,000 for families for the first year of their child's life, to help them buy a car seat, to help them buy baby clothes, a crib. There's the work that we're going to do that is about investing in the American family around affordable housing, a big issue in our country right now. So there are a number of things on day one.
Okay, well, first of all, I'm going to let this play out a little bit because I'm curious to see if Donna, I don't know how to, Dana, whatever the hell her name is, from CNN, if she actually presses her on some of these things, like her plan for first-time housing, first-time house buyers, or the price gouging. Let's see if she actually presses her on any of this. If not, we'll come back and discuss it.
What about you?
Well, I'm excited about this agenda, too. As I said, the idea of inspiring America to what can be. And I think many of these things that the Vice President's proposing are things that we share in values. And the child tax credit is one we know that reduces childhood poverty by a third. We did it in Minnesota. To have a federal partner in this, unbelievable, I think, in the impact that we can make.
You talked about, you call it the opportunity economy. You are well aware that right now many Americans are struggling. There's a crisis of affordability. One of your campaign themes is we're not going back. But I wonder what you say to voters who do want to go back when it comes to the economy specifically, because their groceries were less expensive, housing was more affordable when Donald Trump was president.
Hello.
Well, let's start with the fact that when Joe Biden and I came in office, during the height of a pandemic, we saw over 10 million jobs were lost. People, I mean, literally, we were all tracking the numbers. Hundreds of people a day were dying because of COVID. The economy had crashed. In large part, all of that because of mismanagement by Donald Trump of that crisis. When we came in, our high
Nobody more than the Democrats was pushing for the economic shutdown. Nobody more than the Democrats was trying to punish and penalize people if they were trying to open their businesses or go back to work or stay financially afloat. I mean, this was literally a politicized virus epidemic that was done intentionally to try to tank the economy that Donald Trump built going into an election year. So this is not, has nothing to do with mismanagement. This was intentional sabotage that the Democrats did to try to make it impossible for Donald Trump to win in 2020, because he was actually doing so well and America was doing so well that they had to artificially sabotage the successes of the Trump administration. That's a fact. So now she's trying to pretend like, oh my God, we had this crisis on our hands, and like we had to, like, you caused the crisis. You are the crisis. What are you talking about?
priority was to do what we could to rescue America. And today, we know that we have inflation at under 3%. A lot of our policies have led to the reality that America recovered faster than any wealthy nation around the world. But you are right. Prices, in particular for groceries, are still too high. The American people know it, I know it, which is why my agenda includes what we need to do to bring down the price of groceries. For example, dealing with an issue like price gouging. What we need to do to extend the child tax credit to help young families be able to take care of their children in their most formative years. What we need to do to bring down the cost of housing My proposal includes what would be a tax credit of $25,000 for first-time home buyers, so they can just have enough to put a down payment on a home, which is part of the American dream and their aspiration, but do it in a way that allows them to actually get on the path to achieving that goal and that dream.
So you have been vice president for 3.5 years.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to pause for a second because I'm not sure if we're moving on and changing the subject. So, Kamala Harris has talked about introducing, like, for the first time, like, government enforced price regulating by the government, which many even left wing economists have said is disastrous policy that our government the United States has never engaged in before. That this would be literally the closest thing to bringing a communist price fixing plan to the United States of America that doesn't work, by the way. I mean, the long lasting effects. There are people, there's a great thread on X. I probably have it bookmarked. I'll see if I do, I'll push it. But the person wrote like a long thread explaining the chain of events that will happen if price fixing by the government becomes a part of the United States national policy. I mean, it literally is. On the surface, it might sound good. Oh, well, they're going to make it impossible for eggs to go over the $6 or whatever, so that I can afford groceries when I go to the store. Unfortunately, there's a sequence of events that happens in such a situation like that, where the government gets involved in price fixing, that leads to complete and utter decimation of the economy and catastrophic consequences. There's a reason why we have an economic system of supply and demand, and that we don't let our government make the decision on what the prices and price fixing goods and services are in this country. And the other thing that she's talking about is the $25,000 plan for new homeowners, that she's going to give $25,000 credit to first-time home buyers. Couple problems with this. Number one, it really actually, what's the word I'm looking for? Isolates to some degree the lower class, because first of all, the average home these days is outrageously expensive. Like, even a bottom tier home starts at about $250,000, which is outrageous. A very average home these days is $400,000-$500,000, which is insane. But a $25,000 credit is not going to help you that much. Not to mention the fact that you have to be pretty well-to-do these days to even look at buying a $250,000 home or a $300,000 home. So it completely ices out the lower class in this country. Not to mention the fact that it drives the cost, the value of homes down, when suddenly more and more people are able to buy homes. So in the long run, they're encouraging people, because her whole thought process is, well, this helps to build wealth by being a property owner. But the value of the properties go down when you're incentivizing more and more people to buy properties. So you're giving them something that is less valuable, when in fact, if people have that amount of money in the first place to be able to go and buy a house that's $250,000, $300,000, and they can put a down payment like that on, they're better off to invest their money in the stock market than they are to try to oversaturate the buying market and drive the cost of or the value of homes down. Let's continue.
The steps that you're talking about now, why haven't you done them already?
Hello.
Well, first of all, we had to recover as an economy, and we have done that. I'm very proud of the work that we have done that has brought inflation down to less than 3%. The work that we have done to cap the cost of insulin at $35 a month for seniors. Donald Trump said he was going to do a number of things, including allowing Medicare to negotiate drug prices. Never happened. We did it. So now...
What does she mean? Okay, so she just got asked the question, why didn't you do the things you're saying in these last 3.5 years that you've been the vice president? And her answer is, we were recovering the economy. But the economy's not recovered. All of the questions that we're asking are about massive inflation, unaffordable gas, unaffordable food prices, that people can't afford to buy a home, and that more people than ever are feeling that the American dream is not alive and available for them because they can't get by day to day. So what do you mean? You couldn't do any of the things that are needed to be done to help the American people because you were too busy helping the American people. But you weren't, and you're not, and people still cannot afford to live day to day in this country. Your answer makes no sense. Nothing you say makes any sense.
As I travel in the state of Georgia and around our country, the number of seniors that have benefited. I was in Nevada recently, a grandmother who showed me her receipts. And before we capped the cost of insulin for seniors at $35 a month, she was paying hundreds of dollars, up to thousands of dollars a month for her insulin. She's not doing that any
You
longer.
maintain Bidenomics is a success.
I maintain that when we do the work of bringing down prescription medication for the American people, including capping the cost of the annual cost of prescription medication for seniors at $2,000, when we do what we did in the first year of being in office to extend the child tax credit so that we cut child poverty in America by over 50%, when we do what we have done to invest in the American people and bringing manufacturing back to the United States so that we created over 800,000 new manufacturing jobs, bringing business back to America, what we have done to improve the supply chain so we're not relying on foreign governments to supply American families with their basic needs, I'll say that that's good work. There's more to do, but that's good work.
I want to get some clarity on where you stand on some key policy issues. Energy is a big one. When you were in Congress, you supported the Green New Deal. And in 2019, you said, quote, "There is no question I'm in favor of banning fracking." Fracking, as you know, is a pretty big issue, particularly in your must-win state of Pennsylvania.
Sure.
Do you
Yep.
still want to ban fracking?
No, and I made that clear on the debate stage in 2020, that I would not ban fracking. As vice president, I did not ban fracking. As president, I will not ban fracking.
In 2019, I believe, in a town hall, you said you were asked, would you commit to implementing a federal ban on fracking on your first day in office? And you said, there's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. So yes. So it changed in that campaign?
Look at
In
that look on her
2020,
face.
I made very clear where
In favor. Would you commit to implementing a federal ban on fracking on your first day in office? And you said, there's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. So yes. So
Look at this look on her face right here. We'll keep going, but then I have a comment to make on this.
it changed in that campaign?
in 2020, I made very clear where I stand. We are in 2024, and I've not changed that position, nor will I going forward. I kept my word, and I will keep my word.
What made you change that position
Yeah.
at the time?
Tell us.
Well, let's be clear. My values have not changed. I believe it is very important that we take seriously what we must do to guard against what is.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and just pause for a second because we're going into a Kamala word salad in just a moment, so it's a perfect time to take a quick break. So basically, what is happening here is what's being exposed is that when she's running in a Democratic primary and she's trying to appeal to Democratic voters, her policies are incredibly progressive. So she'll go out in 2019 and say she wants to ban fracking, and she supports the Green New Deal, and she supports all of these very progressive agendas. And then when it becomes a national election and she's trying to appeal also to middle of the road and conservative voters, all of a sudden her policy positions on everything change. Now she doesn't support the New Deal. Now she doesn't support fracking. Now she doesn't. And when asked, why did you miraculously change your mind? Her answer is, my values haven't changed. But, and we're about to find out what the but is in just a moment, but I had to pause because she's going to talk in a circle about nonsense. But when somebody says my values haven't changed, she's not saying my policy positions haven't changed, because she can't. One day she says this policy position to this crowd of people. The next day she says this policy position to this crowd of people. They're both diametrically opposed. They're two completely different things on two opposite ends of the spectrum. But it doesn't matter because her values haven't changed. So what she's about to tell us, I'm sure, is that the most important thing is making sure that we have clean energy and that that energy is affordable to all Americans. And again, the strong middle class and blah, blah. So those are her values. But the policies doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that I tell one group of people one thing and I tell the other group of people the exact opposite thing. All that's important at the end of the day are my values. And my values are that I care about people and I care about the planet and I care about energy and I care about the economy and I care about people doing well. So what difference does it make if the words that I say don't make any sense and have absolutely no consistency? What difference does that make? Because my values haven't changed. Oh, let's keep going.
Crisis in terms of the climate. And to do that, we can do what we have accomplished thus far. The Inflation Reduction Act, what we have done to invest, by my calculation, over probably $1 trillion over the next 10 years, investing in a clean energy economy. What we've already done, creating over 300,000 new clean energy jobs. That tells me, from my experience as vice president, we can do it without banning fracking. In fact, Dana, I cast the tie-breaking vote that actually increased leases for fracking as vice president. So I'm very clear about where I stand.
And was there some policy or scientific data that you saw that you said, oh, okay, I get it now?
What I have seen is that we can grow and we can increase a thriving clean energy economy without banning.
Yep, there you go. Pretty much basically exactly what I just said she would say. All right, so guys, that's the end of part 1. There's 3 parts. So let's let me go full screen here. There we go. Guys, keep throwing your comments in the chat. I want to hear from you. I'm kind of glancing over and keeping an eye on those. So if you guys have any thoughts, questions, comments, throw them over in the chat as we're going. I'm going to take a quick break right now before we get into part 2. Keep watching because we have part 2 and part 3 to finish out this interview. I'm encouraging everybody to stick with us. Let's watch the whole thing because I think it's really important going into an election in just 2 months. We can't just be getting our information from like clips and reels and sound bites on X and Facebook and TikTok and Instagram. It's important. Like I said at the beginning of this live video, I was grossly misinformed about Donald Trump. I was grossly misinformed about MAGA and Republican policies because I chose to believe sound bites and clips spun out of context by the left-wing media. I think we all owe it to ourselves to watch the entirety of somebody's speech, watch the entirety of someone's interview on CNN or anything else so that we're fully informed and we know what we're talking about. We shouldn't be just confirming our own biases by reposting and sharing sound bites and clips on social media. So I'm, welcoming this opportunity to invite people to this live stream so we can watch the whole thing together and react to this together. Keep throwing your comments in the chat. If you're watching, please repost. If you're watching on X, if you're on Facebook, please hit share. If you're on YouTube, stay with us. Keep watching. Share the link out later. I'm going to do a quick commercial real quick here to talk to you guys about something very exciting that Walkaway is doing, which is the Walkaway $10,000 testimonial video challenge. As you guys know, starting 6 years ago, we launched the Walkaway campaign, encouraging people to share their videos and their stories about why they're walking away from the Democratic Party. Well, now more than ever, we want people to share their walkaway stories. So we are giving away $10,000 to the person with the best walkaway video. And we're calling it the Walkaway $10,000 Testimonial Video Challenge. The third place winner, which will be announced on November 1st, will get $500. Second place winner will get $1,000, and the first place winner will get the grand prize of $10,000. And even more exciting, the first 50 people to enter the challenge with their walkaway videos will automatically win $100. People are already winning, so we are entering. So we've already given away $100 to numerous people. We still have some left. Be one of the first 50 to enter to win $100. But take a look at the Walkaway $10,000 Testimonial Video Challenge, and we'll be back with part 2 of the Kamala Harris interview right after this.
It's the Walkaway $10,000 Testimonial Video Challenge.
These days, more people than ever are walking away from the left, and we at Walkaway think that good choices deserve to be rewarded. And let's be honest, under this administration, you need the money. And that's why I'm giving away $10,000 to one lucky person out there with the best walkaway video. Submit your walkaway testimonial video and take a shot at winning a number of amazing prizes. or the big prize, $10,000. But it gets better.
The first 50 people to submit their video to the contest will automatically win $100.
Anyone with a walkway story can submit their video and enter, even if you've already shared your story in the past. But you can only enter once, so make sure that you submit the video that you feel gives you the best shot at winning. To be eligible for the contest, you must go to our website, walkwaychallenge.com, and fill out your submission form. Be sure to read and follow all the rules to make sure that your entry meets all of the qualifications. This is the one time I'm going to ask you guys to not be like me. You actually have to follow all the rules. Then submit your walkaway video to our Facebook group, #WalkawayCampaign, our app, Walkaway Social, and share your video on X. You must use the #Walkaway and #WalkawayChallenge when you post your video on these platforms. We encourage you to be as creative as you want to be. You can speak it, you can sing it, you can rap it, you can sign it, you can Spielberg it if you want to. But for the best chance of winning, just be yourself. The most important thing is to be honest, sincere, and speak from the heart.
Remember, sign up now and enter your video right away because the first 100 people automatically win $100.
Don't miss out on your chance to win big, $10,000.
It's the Walkaway $10,000 Testimonial Video Challenge.
Sorry, so there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the Walkway $10,000 Testimonial Video Challenge. All you have to do is go to walkawaychallenge.com and you can sign up there to enter our contest. Just go to walkawaychallenge.com to enter, and you have a chance at winning $10,000. The first 50 people to enter automatically win $100. Let's get back to our viewing of CNN's town hall with first interview with Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. It's been pretty exciting so far. Very interesting. So far, I don't think we've really had any questions answered, but let's see what part 2 brings us. Let me get this thing off the screen and we will continue. All right, let's have it. Part 2, Kamala Harris, Tim Walz, CNN first interview.
Okay. Another issue, big one, is immigration. As Vice President, you were tasked with addressing the root causes of migration in southern countries and
Northern part of Central America.
the northern part
Yeah.
of Central America that affects the southern border of the U.S. During the Biden-Harris administration, there were record numbers of illegal border crossings. Why did the Biden-Harris administration wait 3.5 years to implement sweeping asylum restrictions?
Well, first of all, the root causes work that I did as vice president, that I was asked to do by the president, has actually resulted in a number of benefits, including historic investments by American businesses in that region. The number of immigrants coming from that region has actually reduced since we began that work. But I will say this, that Joe Biden and I and our administration worked with members of the United States Congress on an immigration issue that is very significant to the American people and to our security, which is the border. And through bipartisan work, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Congress, a bill was crafted, which we supported, which I support. And Donald Trump got word of this bill that would have contributed to securing our border, and because he believes that it would not have helped him politically, he told his folks in Congress, don't put it forward. He killed the bill. A border security bill that would have put 1,500 more agents on the border. And let me tell you something, the Border Patrol endorsed the bill. And I'm sure in large part because they knew they were working around the clock, and 1,500 more agents would help them. That bill would have allowed us to increase seizures of fentanyl. Ask any community in America that has been devastated by fentanyl what passing that bill would have done to address their concern and a pain that they've experienced.
Okay. All right. Well, first of all, the Democrats literally made it their life's mission to oppose any border security bills or anything. Donald Trump's border wall. They called the border wall racist. I mean, they went out of their way to make sure that we could not build a border wall to secure our southern border. They sabotaged every attempt that Republicans made while Trump was in office to secure our border. And not to mention, I revisit the fact one more time that they literally intentionally tanked our economy and forced an economic shutdown to try to prevent Donald Trump from getting reelected in 2020. And so the idea that she's now going to turn around and say, well, Donald Trump and the Republicans are intentionally trying to kill a border bill because it's politically advantageous to us or to them. Again, the lengths that the Democrats have gone to sabotage the American people economically in terms of their safety and their security, to stop Donald Trump from getting elected because it was politically advantageous to them, is so egregious. It's actually unspeakable and unthinkable what these people have done. But let's just back up and acknowledge the fact that Joe Biden is the president and that Kamala Harris is the acting vice president of the United States. They didn't go to the border. They have they have undone every policy that Donald Trump enacted to help secure the border. They have done everything possible to cause the current border crisis and illegal immigrant surge crisis and crime crisis and fentanyl crisis that we have in this country right now. But now she's going to turn around and blame a man who's not even in public office right now for the fact that she and her president can't secure the border? That doesn't make any sense. If you can't secure the border as the vice president and the president, why should we elect you? Because what you're telling us is you're not capable of securing our border because a man who holds no public office right now stopped you from doing it. Then we shouldn't vote for you. Because what difference does it make if you're the vice president or the president if you can't secure our border because a public citizen is preventing you from doing it? I'm going to vote for the person who can do it. I'm going to vote for the person who did do it, and that you guys actively undid every policy that he enacted that led us to the crisis in the first place. This doesn't make any sense.
Push that legislation again. I just want to
Not
ask
only
about
push it, I will make sure that it comes to my desk and I would sign it.
just one other question about something that you said in 2019 when you first ran. There was a debate. You raised your hand when asked whether or not the border should be decriminalized. Do you still believe that?
I believe there should be consequence. We have laws that have to be followed and enforced that address and deal with people who cross our border illegally, and there should be consequence. And let's be clear, in this race, I'm the only person who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations who traffic in guns, drugs, and human beings. I'm the only person in this race who actually served a border state as Attorney General to enforce our laws, and I would enforce our laws as president going forward. I recognize the problem.
Okay, everybody, the worst possible timing ever. I have somebody who literally just knocked on my door. Guys, do me a favor, hang with me. I'm going to play my walkaway sequel video while I deal with somebody being at my door. I apologize, worst possible timing, but please watch this video and I will be right back in just a few minutes. Sorry, everyone.
Once upon a time, I was a liberal. But you already know that. 6 years ago, I proclaimed that I was no longer a liberal and told all the reasons why. But I had no idea how much worse things were about to get. The left is no longer simply intolerant, inflexible, illogical, un-American, and misinformed. In the last 6 years, they have devolved into malicious, corrupt, perverse, sadistic, ruthless, oppressive, and borderline authoritarian behavior and rhetoric. Liberalism has been devoured by leftism, and leftism is just hatred and destruction marketed as virtue. For years now, we have watched as the left has embarked on an intentional and methodical endeavor to radically upend American life. They've pushed for every policy objective that would increase crime and disunity while destroying our economic system, our justice and morality, our right to defend our border, and our right to defend ourselves. Today, the ultimate goal of the Democrats is more power, more control. In an effort to destabilize and divide our society, the left has waged a war on reality, chipping away at our common perception of what is true and what is false. They'll accuse you of doing everything that they do and being everything that they are. They'll say that you're in a cult while they bow down in unison and worship their false idols. They'll say that you're violent while they burn America to the ground, that you're lawless while they defund the police and release dangerous repeat offenders into society. They'll say that you're the Nazi while they lead anti-Semitic tirades from coast to coast, that you're the fascist while they weaponize the federal government against their political opponents, that you are un-American while they burn our flag, kneel for our anthem, and rip our Constitution to shreds. They've created a blatantly hypocritical and overtly dishonest moral structure, feigning outrage over the sins of their opponents while flagrantly ignoring, excusing, and enabling the hateful and dangerous behaviors of their own side. They'll criminalize your right to defend yourself while making martyrs out of attackers. They'll provide sanctuary for illegal migrants, but surveil American citizens they fear are too patriotic. And in the left's abusive false reality, you are the dangerous threat to democracy as they employ every trick and scheme to remove their political opponents off the ballot. You are a racist, and if you don't acknowledge your racism and inherent bigotry, that's proof that what they say about you is true. In the left's reality, there's no such thing as gender, yet gender identity is the most important thing in the world. This is the most secure election in history. This is a woman. And this is a mostly peaceful protest, but this is an insurrection. To capitalize on the left's deceitful false reality, the Democrats have ushered in a whole new era of racism, sexism, and discrimination, deceptively presenting these new ideas as diversity, equity, and inclusion. The party that dishonestly takes credit for the advancement of civil rights now openly advocates for prejudice, segregation, and denial of opportunities based on skin color and gender, making skill, merit, and safety secondary, prioritizing diversity quotas over capability. And the Democrats have a powerful ally in their war on reality: the mainstream media, an institution that could once be trusted to hold power accountable. The media is now overwhelmingly leftist and overwhelmingly pro-government, running nonstop interference to protect the establishment. That's why so many people believe every lie, every hoax, every false narrative, every piece of fiction the establishment supporting media creates and echoes. Because the left knows if they repeat a lie often enough, it becomes the truth. The Democrats have decided they have full ownership over minorities in this country, telling them they are the victims of a culture of systemic oppression. If you are Black, brown, LGBT, an immigrant, or a woman, the Democrats and the media are exploiting you, creating story after story and hoax after hoax to make you think that the other side of the aisle hates you, that you have no hope, no future, and no safety unless they are in power. They lie about hate crimes and skew data to make you think that bigotry against you is on the rise. They want you to believe that your rights are in danger and that every problem in your life is caused by somebody else. They'll tell you they're the only people who care about you and your freedom of choice and opportunity. And then, in the ultimate act of gaslighting, they'll punish any of you who exercise your free will to leave them. They'll call you a self-loathing traitor and tell you you hate yourself if you don't stand in solidarity with their illogical causes and beliefs. They'll ostracize you from your community, cyberbully you, and try to make it impossible for you to exist. This is your punishment for being a minority and daring to disobey them by thinking for yourself. It's critical to Democrats that minorities remain forever segregated and afraid. Their goal is to make sure that you never know intellectual and spiritual freedom. Divided they stand. Remember, these are the same people who brought authoritarianism to America under the guise of protecting people from a pandemic. They led the charge to lock you in, mask you, and destroy your business, just because they could. They exploited a virus to manipulate an election. They arrested citizens for daring to open their stores and go to work. They jailed people for going to church. They turned a drug-addicted career criminal into a civil rights hero and gave him a funeral fit for a king, while our grandparents were forced to die alone. They mandated you take an experimental vaccine they knew was not proven safe nor effective. And suddenly, when a pandemic gave them the opportunity, the party that once championed free speech and expression became the party of censorship and suppression. They ban and restrict any speech or opinion that challenges the establishment narrative. They'll label anybody who questions them as spreaders of disinformation to discredit them. They even created a governance board to track and punish thought criminals. Comply or be canceled. There's no line the Democrats won't cross anywhere in their craven quest for power. If they can't earn it, they'll steal it. If they can't steal it, they'll break it. If they can't break it, they'll silence it. And if they can't silence it, they'll make it disappear. This isn't a political party. It's a crime syndicate, and nobody holds them accountable. The Democrats have created a two-tier system of justice, weaponizing three-letter agencies against their political opponents, spying on them, raiding them, jailing them, and putting them on lists, while they live without any fear of consequences for their own corrupt behavior. If they want you out of the way, they'll search high and low to find a crime to accuse you of. And if they can't find one, they'll make one up. They'll force you to confess to things you didn't do, because they have the power to do it. They'll destroy your name and reputation with the help of their media, who report anything the government tells them to. They'll impersonate you by banning you from banks, payment platforms, email services, social media, and air travel, just like communists do. They'll try to destroy every aspect of your life based on the lies they created, then celebrate the devastation they've caused. I should know. They did it to me. They'll convince your friends and family it's their patriotic duty to turn you into the FBI to have you investigated and punished. They'll label you a domestic terrorist to dehumanize you so that no one objects when they imprison you, bankrupt you, and bury you. They'll come after everyone around you one by one, and nobody will stop them because everyone's too afraid. And then it's your turn. And there's no one left to speak for you. So stand up, tell every truth, blow every whistle, sound every alarm, never shut up, never back down. Speak out now while you still can. This is our last chance to save America. Because once your freedom is gone, it's gone. And you'll never get it back. Once upon a time, I was a liberal. But liberalism is destroying us. So I will stand and fight for my values of unity, equal opportunity, personal empowerment, compassion, freedom, and love. So I continue to walk away. And I encourage all of you to do the same. Join us. Unite. Share your stories. Walk away.
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 To learn more about this video and to join and support the Walkaway campaign, scan this QR. Technology for me. There we go. Sorry about that, you guys. I had somebody knock on my door and I had to deal with a situation, so I apologize. Didn't mean to do a midstream viewing of my video, but you know what? It is what it is. Anyway, so while we're on the topic, real quickly, for those of you, that was my sequel to my original Walkaway video. I just put this video out about, I don't know, 2 weeks ago or so. On the third day that it was out, it was reposted by President Trump, who said, "Thank you, #walkaway." I highly encourage all of you, if you just watch that video, some of you probably just saw it for the first time. It's new. Please share it, you guys. Please, even if you've shared it before, share it again. It's my pinned post on X. If you go to @Brandon Straka on X, it's there. It's on YouTube. We are severely suppressed on YouTube. It's terrible. Like, we have actually 230,000 subs on YouTube. Right now, I just checked, we have 350 people watching on YouTube. Right now, there's over 10,000 people watching on X, but on our YouTube account, 350. And Facebook, forget it. Like, Facebook, it's not even, although it's approaching 700,000 views on Facebook, and it is one of my featured posts on my Facebook page at Brandon Straka, spelled like this. So if you just guys keep sharing it, share it. I don't care if you want to download it and post it on your page. If you want to cut it into clips, put the clips out. Keep sharing between now and November. We need everyone to watch this. Let's jump back in. And thank God for X. We actually have 11,000 people right now watching on X. Which is like hilarious because according to Facebook, I think there was 150 out of 410,000 people. 150. Okay. But let's jump back into the Harris Tim Walz CNN interview. We're at part 2. Let's go ahead and continue where we were. There should be no more interruptions. Let's go.
Trump got word of this bill that would have contributed to securing our border, and because he believes that it would not have helped him politically.
All right, I'm going to skip ahead a little.
He told his...
We already saw this part, so I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. Let's go. Let's try here.
Generally speaking, how should voters look at some of the changes that you've made, that you've explained some of here in your policy? Is it because you have more experience now and you've learned more about the information? Is it because you were running for president in a Democratic primary? And should they feel comfortable and confident that what you're saying now is going to be your policy moving forward?
Dana, I think the most important and most significant aspect of my policy perspective and decisions is my values have not changed. You mentioned the Green New Deal. I have always believed, and I have worked on it, that the climate crisis is real, that it is an urgent matter to which we should apply metrics that include holding ourselves to deadlines around time. We did that with the Inflation Reduction Act. We have set goals for the United States of America and by extension the globe around when we should meet certain standards for reduction of greenhouse gas emissions, as an example. That value has not changed. My value around what we need to do to secure our border, that value has not changed. I spent 2 terms as the Attorney General of California prosecuting.
I don't want to hear about your values. I want to hear about your policies. Honestly, I don't care about your values. I really don't, because the word values is almost meaningless coming from a politician. Look, no one gets to this level in politics and has like actual good values. If you're currently at this level, you're probably a sociopath, and in all likelihood, I can't even imagine the things that you've done to claw and climb your way to this point, especially Kamala Harris, who has been notoriously unpopular since the very beginning, and we have numerous stories and anecdotes that indicate the types of things her values led her to do to get to where she is today. Not to mention the fact that she is literally one of the most fortunate people who just happened to be at the right place at the right time with the right skin color and the right gender to be able to be in the position that she's in today. But bottom line, don't care about your values. I just want to hear about your policies. And I want them to be consistent, and I want them to make sense. I want you to have the same policy ideals that you have consistently had and consistently espoused, and I want them to make sense. But so far, we're not getting that, so let's keep going.
Transnational criminal organizations, violations of American laws regarding the illegal passage of guns, drugs, and human beings across our border. My values have not changed. So that is the reality of it. In 4 years of being vice president, I'll tell you, one of the aspects to your point is traveling the country extensively. I mean, I'm here in Georgia. I think somebody told me 17 times since I've been vice president in Georgia alone. I believe it is important to build consensus, and it is important to find a common place of understanding of where we can actually solve problems.
On that note, you had a lot of Republican speakers at the convention. Yeah. Will you appoint a Republican to your cabinet?
Yes, I would.
Anyone in mind?
Yes, I would. No one in particular in mind. I got it.
Who? Liz Cheney? Adam Kinzinger? I think we've learned what it means when Democrats appoint Republicans to positions. These are Republicans who are very, 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 very thinly veiled, progressive, leftist socialist Marxist Democrats like Adam Kinzinger and Liz Cheney. No, thank you. No, thank you. I don't need Biden, Harris, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, any of them choosing Republicans to appoint to any position. No, you know what? Go ahead and just put Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Elizabeth Warren and the entire squad in the position. Go ahead and just do that, please. Like, I don't need a Democrat's idea of a Republican. No, thank you. I'll pass.
Got 68 days to go with this election, so I'm not putting the cart before the horse, but I would. I think it's really important. I have spent my career inviting diversity of opinion. I think it's important to have people at the table when some of the most important decisions are being made that have different views, different experiences. And I think it would be to the benefit of the American public to have a member of my cabinet who was a Republican.
Okay.
I want to ask you about your opponent, Donald Trump.
Okay.
I was a little bit surprised. People might be surprised to hear that you have never interacted with him, met him face to face. That's going to change soon. But what I want to ask you about is what he said last month. He suggested that you happened to turn black recently for political purposes, questioning a core part of your identity.
Yeah.
Any?
Same old tired playbook. Next question, please.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay.
All right, let's take a second to unpack this she's not black thing that's happening right now. Because look, I'll be the first to agree that it's not been well articulated by Republicans, and it's come across as sort of like this cheap shot talking point that comes across as like or is presented as kind of racist or whatever. Here's the problem, and again, I'll be the first to say Republicans have not done a good job at all. Shocker. I mean, for those of you who've been Republican for a long time, for those of us who are new Republicans, I always say Republicans never miss an opportunity to miss an opportunity. We're the worst message, like worst at messaging, worst at marketing, can't get an idea across in any sort of coherent way. Terrible. But the reason why this business about Kamala, whether she's black or not, is relevant is because the point is Democrats cannot win elections without, once again, as I said earlier in this stream, separating Americans into identity categories and then fear-mongering and terrorizing these people, which is something they've done to the black community for decades and generations. And so if you're somebody who is part black, as she is, her father's Jamaican, fine. Like, I don't deny that she's part black. The issue is that this woman did not identify as a black woman or identify with the black community until it became politically advantageous to her to do so. And just like Democrats have done for decades and generations, when it comes time to try to win elections, they begin fear-mongering and pandering to black people, particularly, but all minority communities. And they try to make them feel like they identify with them, that they see them, that they're looking at them, that, that they are the answer to their problem and the solution to their prayers. And then the moment the election is over, they forget about them, and these communities never hear from these people again. And that's the reason why this point is relevant. It's not, who cares whether she's black or not? No one cares. That's not the point. The point is, you weren't running around identifying as a black woman up until 2 months before the election that you're running for president. Now, all of a sudden, when you see that your party is hemorrhaging black voters, particularly black men, walking away from the Democratic Party, now, all of a sudden, you want to present yourself as a black woman running for president. That's the only point. It's not about questioning your identity. It's not about whether you are or you aren't. It's about your ability to be trusted and your authenticity in the way that you present yourself to people. Why are you all of a sudden presenting yourself as a black woman when you didn't do this before? Will you still be a black woman when the election is over? Or will you forget about the black community like all Democrats always do the moment that the election is over? And will your blackness suddenly evaporate into the ether just like everything else that you present yourself as, and all of your policy, non-existent policy points, your values. That's what this is about. So I just want to kind of clarify that point, because I will say that I have been extremely disappointed in the Republican Party for not being able to articulate the importance of this point or why it's being said, and allowing it to just come across as this sort of juvenile, trolling, borderline racist thing that's happening, when in fact there is actually a great legitimacy to why we're discussing this, because it speaks to the character and the values and authenticity of the liar who is suddenly identifying this way, and who will not be identifying this way for much longer after the election is over. Let's continue.
Let's talk about some foreign policy issues that would be on your plate if you become commander-in-chief. President Biden has tried unsuccessfully to end the war between Israel and Hamas in Gaza. He's been doing it for months and months, along with you. Would you do anything differently? For example, would you withhold some U.S. weapons shipments to Israel? That's what a lot of people on the progressive left want you to do.
Let me be very clear. I'm unequivocal and unwavering in my commitment to Israel's defense and its ability to defend itself. And that's not going to change. But let's take a step back. October 7, 1,200 people were massacred. Many young people who were simply attending a music festival. Women were horribly raped. As I said then, I say today, Israel has a right to defend itself. We would. And how it does so matters. Far too many innocent Palestinians have been killed. And we have got to get a deal done. We were in Doha. We have to get a deal done. This war must end.
And in the meantime,
and we must get a deal that is about getting the hostages out. I've met with the families of the American hostages. Let's get the hostages out. Let's get the ceasefire done.
But no change in policy in terms of arms and so forth.
No, we have to get a deal done. Dana, we have to get a deal done. When you look at the significance of this to the families, to the people who are living in that region, a deal is not only the right thing to do to end this war, but will unlock so much of what must happen next. I remain committed since I've been on October 8 to what we must do to work toward a two-state solution where Israel is secure and
Do we get to find out what it is? At any point, do we get to hear a plan, a cogent plan that makes any sense, that is actually spoken into existence and articulated in a way that is comprehensible and makes sense, and we get to know what that is? So we need to make a deal. We need to make a deal. We need to stop a war. Again, no shit, Sherlock. Like I'm but you've got to articulate to us what that is and how you're going to do it. Saying obvious things is not a campaign. But this is where we're left at this point. It's nothing but just saying really obvious things and then copying Donald Trump and RFK policy positions. Let's keep going.
equal measure, the Palestinians have security and self-determination and dignity.
Oh, well, that's the end of part 2. All right, listen, if you guys are with us on the stream, which more than 15,000 of you are, which is awesome. The majority of those are on X because there's almost no point in Brandon Straka or Walkaway trying to exist on Facebook or YouTube anymore, because despite having a very large following and subscribership, we are not allowed to be seen on those platforms. I have 410,000 followers on Facebook, and according to Facebook right now, 150 people are watching. We have almost 230,000 subs on YouTube, and according to YouTube, about 350 people are watching on YouTube. Meanwhile, we have about 15,000 people watching us on the X platform. Explain to me how that makes sense. Oh, it doesn't. Actually, we have more than 15,000 watching on X. We have one more segment to watch of the Kamala Harris CNN interview, her first interview. We're watching live, we're reacting. I want to encourage all of you, especially those of you who are on Facebook and on YouTube, please keep throwing your comments in the chat. Love reading and watching your comments, and your comments are showing up live for everybody, whether they're on YouTube or Facebook or X. So it's a lot of fun. Keep throwing those comments in. We want to hear your thoughts on everything that's happening. But I want to take one more before we get into the third and final segment of the interview. I want to remind everybody that you have a chance to win $10,000 just for sharing your walkaway story. Here it is. If you enter the walkaway $10,000 testimonial video challenge, you could win $10,000. The contest is open until October 15th, but we highly encourage all of you to submit your videos, submit your entries now, because the first 50 people automatically win $100. I want to address one of my naysayers in the chat who I saw say, I don't believe him because he said the first 50 people, then he said the first 100 people. Yes, it's true. I'm a human being who occasionally makes mistakes. What I probably meant to say was that the first 50 people to enter automatically win $100. 50 people, $100. 50 people, $100. We've already had numerous people enter, so if you still want to be one of the first 50, you better hurry. You're going to get a $100 prize literally just for being one of the first 50 people to enter, but we'll be announcing the big prizes on November 1st. So third place gets $500, second place gets $1,000, and first place gets the grand prize of $10,000. See, it's a lot to keep in your brain. $10,000 for first place. Before we watch the third and final segment of the Kamala Harris CNN interview, let's watch a little more about the Walkaway $10,000 testimonial video challenge. You can enter by scanning that QR code or by going to walkawaychallenge.com. If you have a walkaway story to share it now. Use the hashtags Walkaway and Walkaway Challenge. You have to submit your videos on the X platform, our Facebook group, Walkaway Campaign, and our app, Walkaway Social. Use the hashtags Walkaway and Walkaway Challenge. First 50 people get $100 just for entering. Here's a little more information about that, and then we'll be back for the third and final segment of the Kamala Harris Tim Walz CNN interview. Take a look at this.
It's the Walkaway $10,000 Testimonial Video Challenge.
These days, more people than ever are walking away from the left, and we at Walkaway think that good choices deserve to be rewarded. And let's be honest, under this administration, you need the money. And that's why I'm giving away $10,000 to one lucky person out there with the best walkaway video. Submit your walkaway testimonial video and take a shot at winning a number of amazing prizes. Whoa. Or the big prize, $10,000. But it gets better.
The first 50 people to submit their video to the contest will automatically win $100.
Anyone with a walkaway story can submit their video and enter, even if you've already shared your story in the past. But you can only enter once, so make sure that you submit the video that you feel gives you the best shot at winning. To be eligible for the contest, you must go to our website, walkawaychallenge.com, and fill out your submission form. Be sure to read and follow all the rules to make sure that your entry meets all of the qualifications. This is the one time I'm going to ask you guys to not be like me. You actually have to follow all the rules. Then submit your walkaway video to our Facebook group, #Walkaway Campaign, our app, Walkaway Social, and share your video on X. You must use the hashtag Walkaway and hashtag Walkaway Challenge when you post your video on these platforms. We encourage you to be as creative as you want to be. You can speak it, you can sing it, you can rap it, you can sign it, you can Spielberg it if you want to. But for the best chance of winning, just be yourself. The most important thing is to be honest, sincere, and speak from the heart.
Remember, sign up now and enter your video right away because the first 100 people automatically win $100.
Don't miss out on your chance to win big, $10,000.
It's the Walkaway $10,000 Testimonial Video Challenge.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the Walkaway $10,000 Testimonial Video Challenge. We encourage all of you to enter at walkawaychallenge.com. Anybody who has a walkaway story to share, even if you've shared your story in the past, you can still enter the challenge. Just go there, read all the rules, sign up, fill out your submission form, and enter. The whole thing takes about 10-15 minutes. Shoot your video, enter. First 50 people get $100, and you'll have a chance at $10,000 just for sharing your walkaway story. And with that, let's get into the third and final segment of Kamala Harris, Tim Walz, CNN First interview. We are reacting and watching live. And listen, ladies and gentlemen, keep throwing your comments in the chat because it's really fun to watch and see what you guys have to say. I'm going to throw that back on the screen. Bada bing, bada boom. Thank you. Someone says you look really good today, Brandon, and handsome too. And I wish I'm still young and I will ask you on a on a date. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. All right, let's get into part 3, reacting to Kamala Harris, Tim Walz, CNN First interview.
Governor Walz, the country is just starting to get to know you. I want to ask you a question about how you've described your service in the National Guard. You said that you carried weapons in war, but you have never deployed actually in a war zone. A campaign official said that you misspoke. Did you?
Well, first of all, I'm incredibly proud. I've done 24 years of wearing the uniform of this country. Equally proud of my service in a public school classroom, whether it's Congress or the governor. My record speaks for itself, but I think people are coming to get to know me. I speak like they do. I speak candidly. I wear my emotions on my sleeves. And
Your record speaks for your record shows that you lied. You're technically you're right. Your record speaks for itself. You lied, and that's what your record shows. So are you going to admit that you lied, or what are we doing here?
I speak especially passionately about our children being shot in schools and around.
We're not talking about that. We're talking about how you lied about going to war. That's what
Around guns. So I think people know me. They know who I am. They know where.
We know you're a liar. I mean, you had an opportunity right now to tell us that you weren't lying or explain to us why we misunderstood, but your record shows that you're a liar, and your answer is corroborating that you're a liar.
My heart is, and again, my record has been out there for over 40 years to speak for itself.
And the idea that you said that you were in war.
Yeah.
Did you misspeak as the campaign has said?
Yeah, I said we were talking about, in this case, this was after a school shooting, the ideas of carrying these weapons of war. And my wife, the English teacher, told me my grammar is not always correct. But again, if it's not this, it's an attack on my children for showing.
Hold up. My grammar? That's not grammar. I mean, that's a lie. That's a blatant lie. That's not like, oh, I didn't put a comma in the right place, or oops, I put a question mark instead of a exclamation. This isn't grammar. You lied. And what do you mean? You just got done bragging about how proud you are of your service as a teacher for so many years. You're a teacher and you don't know, you're going to blame basic grammar for the fact that you told a blatant lie, which resulted in stolen valor. I mean, Kamala, where are you? I mean, Kamala, you've been telling us through this whole interview that you're about your values. What about the values of the guy sitting next to you who's a total liar? And now he's about to pivot, by the way, and he's about to make him. I can tell already he said something about attacks on his family and his kids. I can tell exactly what he's about to do. He's about to completely flip the script and make himself the victim of accountability from other people. That people have. How dare anybody try to hold me accountable? Let's listen.
Love for me, or it's an attack on my dog. I'm not going to do that. And the one thing I'll
your
never
poor
do is
dog.
I'll never demean another member's service in any way.
He just said, I'll never demean another member's service. That's exactly what you do when you lie about your own service. That's literally the definition of stolen valor. You can't have stolen valor and not be demeaning other people's service, other people who actually put their lives at risk and went out there and fought for us. That's exactly what you did do. You demeaned their service by lying about your own. Liar.
I never have, and I never will.
I just one other question, because again, this is all new.
Yeah.
I mean, this was not, however many days ago, this was not on either of your bingo cards, especially yours. You had to clarify that you had said that you and your wife used IVF, but it turned out you used a different kind of fertility in order to have children. And then when you ran for Congress in 2006, your campaign repeatedly made false statements about a 1995 arrest for drunk and reckless driving.
Ooh.
What do you say to voters who aren't sure whether they can take you at your word?
Kamala's like, give me some. God, these two together, they probably wake up and start taking a little hooch a little nip of the hooch first thing in the morning. We have two drunks, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. They're probably having a drinking contest right before this interview to see which one can tell the most lies.
I've been very public. I think they can see my students come out, former folks I've served with, and they vouch for me. I certainly own my mistakes when I make them.
No, you
One thing
don't.
I'll tell you is I wished in this country wouldn't have to do this. I spoke about our infertility issues because it's hell, and families know this. And I spoke about the treatments that were available to us that had those beautiful children there. That's quite a contrast in folks that are trying to take those rights away from us. And so I think people know who I am. They know that record. They've seen that. I've taught thousands of students. I've been out there. And I won't apologize for speaking passionately, whether it's guns in schools or protecting of reproductive rights. The contrast could not be clearer between what we're running against. The Vice President's position on this has been clear. And I think most Americans get it if you've been through that.
Have you guys ever noticed that when the Democrats say, let me be clear, or our position is clear, or we have been very clear, or we couldn't be more clear, that literally everything that they say that follows that is not in the least bit clear and makes absolutely no sense? That little orphan Annie woman who's the press secretary, that I don't think anyone says about. We have been very clear. We have been crystal clear. We could not be more clear. This administration has been clear. And then anything that comes out of her mouth from that point forward, bleep, 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 derp, bleep, 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 it makes literally no sense whatsoever. When a Democrat says, let me be clear, you might as well go just start slamming your head into a drawer right at that moment, because everything that you're about to hear from that point forward is going to be a word salad that makes absolutely no sense.
I don't think they're cutting hairs on IVF or IUI. I think what they're cutting hairs on is an abortion ban and the ability to be able to deny families the chance to have a beautiful child.
Vice President Harris, you were a very staunch defender of President Biden's capacity to serve another 4 years. Right after the debate, you insisted that President Biden is extraordinarily strong. Given where we are now, do you have any regrets about what you told the American people?
No, not at all. Not at all. I have served with President Biden for almost 4 years now, and I'll tell you, it's one of the greatest honors of my career, truly. He cares so deeply about the American people. He is so smart and loyal to the American people.
Oh.
And I have spent hours upon hours with him, be it in the Oval.
I know I was feeling that loyalty as the FBI was raiding my house and putting me in handcuffs and taking me to jail for standing outside of the U.S. Capitol for 8 minutes, filming a video. I know that I was certainly feeling like I had a commander-in-chief in charge. By the way, on his 5th day, Joe Biden's 5th day in office, this loyal defender of the American people sent his FBI to storm my house because I was trespassing on the Capitol lawn. Sure. Okay. But yeah, no, anyway, besides that point, I love this because you can she hates him. And by the way, Tim Walz hates her. Like the energy between these two people is, I am loving watching Tim Walz sitting there just going like, I hate this woman. I hate this woman. I so resent being in this position, which is exactly the same way she felt about sitting next to Joe Biden. I hate this man. I hate this man. But it's fun to watch them try to pretend like that's not true.
Or the Situation Room. He has the intelligence, the commitment, and the judgment and disposition
of a watermelon
that I think the American people rightly deserve in their president. By contrast, the former president has none of that. And so, one, I am so proud to have served as vice president to Joe Biden. And two, I am so proud to be running with Tim Walz for president of the United States and to...
Hold on, let's back that up. Let's just back that up. I want to see his face. Guys, throw comments in the chat. I want to know, are you believing what Kamala is saying? Are you believing Tim Walz? Are you guys watching, and do you find them to be believable? Do you find them to be trustworthy? Do you find them to be authentic? I want to hear. Let me know.
And disposition that I think the American people rightly deserve in their president. By contrast, the former president has none of that. And so, one, I am so proud to have served as vice president to Joe Biden. And two, I am so proud to be running with Tim Walz for president of the United States and to bring America what I
He hates her. He just absolutely hates her.
believe the American people deserve, which is a new way forward, and turn the page on the last decade of what I believe has been contrary to where the spirit of our country really lies.
But the last decade, of course, the last 3.5 years has been part of your administration.
I'm talking about an era that started about a decade ago, where there is some
Kamala's starting to get that face where she says, I'm speaking. I'm speaking. I think she got very close to telling Donna. What is her name? Dana? Donna? It's not Donna. Dana. Whatever. Who cares? It's a stupid name. I think she's getting really close to telling Dana, I'm speaking, Dana. That's what she loves to say when she gets irritated by being asked a difficult question.
warped, I believe it to be. That the measure of the strength of a leader is based on who you beat down.
Hold on, real quick comments. She seems like she's been drinking, says Jane. I'm trying to find the comment I just read. Sorry, they're coming in kind of quick. Someone said functioning alcoholic. I missed your comment. I really wanted to read it. Seems like she's been drinking. Oh, this is a functioning non-functioning alcoholic, says Sushi Yoda. 100%. I mean, really, honestly, and look, I'm a sober person. I've been sober almost 10 years. She seems like a drunk to me. I mean, she really honestly does. She seems very much like somebody who has like a day in, day out drinking problem. And I think the more stress we've seen her under since the campaign began, the more often she seems drunk. She really honestly does.
Instead of where I believe most Americans are, which is to believe that the true measure of the strength of a leader is based on who you lift up. That's what's at stake as much as any other detail that we could discuss in this election.
Because we haven't had a chance to talk, I'm just curious, staying on President Biden, when he called you and said he was pulling out of the race, what was that like? And did he offer to endorse you right away, or did you ask for it?
It was a Sunday, so here, I'll give you a little too much information.
Go for it. There's no such thing, Madam Vice President.
My family was staying with us, and including my baby nieces. And we had just had pancakes and, Auntie, can I have more bacon? Yes, I'll make you more bacon. And then we were sitting down to.
Oh God, this is like gut churning. It's like, first of all, this didn't happen. None of this happened. This is so stupid. And like this whole like, oh, look how relatable I am. I'm just, an auntie who cooks pancakes and shit. Like, she's such a liar. This is so stupid. It's so annoying, and it didn't happen. But anyway, whatever.
To do a puzzle.
Oh.
And the phone rang, and it was Joe Biden.
Why did you look at him? And I'm going to go back.
My baby nieces.
I want to see why she looked at him.
And we had just had pancakes and, Auntie, can I have more bacon? Yes, I'll make you more bacon. And then.
What does that have to do with anything? But why did she look at him and laugh after she said puzzle? I don't get it.
We were sitting down to do a puzzle. And the phone rang.
Why? What am I missing? Like, why is that funny? I don't get it. To do a puzzle. And he goes, what am I missing? Why is that funny? I don't.
Biden. And he told me what he had decided to do. And
oh, because she's drunk. Okay.
I asked him, "Are you sure?"
Thank you, Utah fan. That's why.
And he said
that's
yes.
Why she's wasted.
And that's how I learned about it.
And what about the endorsement? Did you ask for it?
Okay, let me straighten this out for everybody right now. because that is not what. Okay, so according to Kamala Harris, she's at her home on a Sunday cooking pancakes and bacon for her nieces who are calling her auntie, and they're doing a puzzle, which for some reason is hysterical to her. I don't get the joke, but maybe that's just me. And then she gets a phone call from Joe Biden, who says to her, Kamala, you're amazing. I love you so much. And I have decided for the good of the country to drop out of the race. And she stops cooking pancakes and bacon long enough to take the call and tries to convince him not to do it. Are you sure? Are you sure? Okay, this is such a load of horseshit. I can't even begin. Let me tell you what really happened. Kamala Harris, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Barack Obama, Michelle Obama, Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, and probably George Soros and a network of Democrat Party mobsters went over to Joe Biden's home with shotguns, kicked his door down, and said, listen, you old senile sack of shit, you're dropping out of the race right now or we're going to blow your head off. And he was like, oh, no. Trust me, this didn't happen over pancakes, bacon, orange juice, and brunch. Like, that's not what happened. Ooh, I think I've had too much coffee, but that's okay. We're going to go back.
He was very clear that he was going to support me.
So when he called to tell you, he said, I'm pulling out of the race and I'm going to support you.
Well, my first thought was not about me, to be honest with you. My first thought was about him, to be honest. I think history is going to show a number of things about Joe Biden's presidency. I think history is going to show that in so many ways it was transformative, be it on what we have accomplished around finally investing in America's infrastructure, investing in new economies, in new industries, what we have done to bring our allies back together and have confidence in who we are as America and grow that alliance. What we have done to stand true to our principles, including the one of the most important international rules and norms, which is the importance of sovereignty and territorial integrity. And I think history...
Buzzword. Sovereignty, what was it? Territorial integrity? What was it?
Structure, investing in new economies.
Oh, infrastructure, new economies.
New industries.
Industries, buzzword.
Have done to bring our allies back together and have confidence in who we are as America and grow that alliance.
Grow it.
What we have done to stand true to our principles,
yes,
including the one of the most important international rules and norms, which is the importance of sovereignty and territorial integrity.
Territorial integrity, absolutely. Sovereignty, yes. Sovereignty, yes. Territorial integrity, yes.
And I think history is going to show not only has Joe Biden led an administration that has achieved those extraordinary successes.
Yes.
But the character of the man is one that he has been in his life and career, including as a president, quite selfless and puts the American people first.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I know that I felt like I was being put first when the FBI under Joe Biden's direction raided my home and put me in jail for standing outside of the Capitol non-violently, non-destructively with a camera in my hand for 8 minutes. I know that I felt like I was being put first. That was a good time for me. Thank God. Yeah.
To ask you both about two standout moments, aside, of course, from the addresses that you both gave, but standout moments that were perhaps unexpected during the convention. You mentioned one of them, Governor. A moment that you shared, that the world shared with your son, Gus. You were speaking, the camera caught him, so incredibly proud of you, so emotional, saying, that's my dad.
Yeah, I don't know as a father I could have ever imagined that. I'm grateful for so many reasons to be on this ticket, but that moment, to understand what was really important, to have my son feel a sense of pride in me, that I was trying to do the right thing. And it was, you try and protect your kids, it brings notoriety and things, but it was just such a visceral, emotional moment that I'm grateful I got to experience it, and I'm so proud of him. I'm proud of him, I'm proud of Hope, I'm proud of Gwen. She's a wonderful mother, and these are great kids. And I think the one thing is, talking about the era we're in, is our politics can be better. It can be different. We can we can show some of these things and we can have families involved in this. And I hope that there was I hope people felt that out there, and I hope they hug their kids a little tighter, because you just never know, and life can be kind of hard.
And last question.
Okay, his answer was super weird. Like, it started well, but then it veered off into some really weird direction. I want to say that I thought it was actually really sweet. His son's reaction, it touched my heart. I thought it was sweet. I thought it was like a very special. And look, we don't have to agree on like politics, and we can think that this man is a liar and a scumbag, because he is. But it doesn't change the fact that his son is like a young boy who is really proud of his dad. And frankly, I get kind of the impression that his son probably is more kind of like on the little more, naive, like, his son doesn't come across as like a cunning young man. Okay, I'll put it that way. So he's probably, not really wise to the kind of person that his father is. I also get the impression that his dad is not probably a very nice person behind the scenes. And he, there's probably a little bit of an ongoing desire to earn the affection of somebody who is that way. So whatever, I have nothing negative to say about his son. I thought that was sweet, and I think it's understandable. And I think if your father is a lying, sociopathic, narcissist, lunatic, and you're actually like a sweet, naive, good young person, you probably would go out of your way to idolize a person like that and try to want to win their affection. I get it. Like, I thought, I don't know. I have nothing bad to say about that, honestly.
Madam Vice President, the photograph that has gone viral. You were speaking. One of your grandnieces that you were just talking about was watching you accept the nomination. You didn't explicitly talk about gender or race in your speech, but it obviously means a lot to a lot of people, and that viral picture really says it. What does it mean to you?
I am running because I believe that I am the best person to do this job at this moment, for all Americans, regardless of race and gender. But I did see that photograph, and I was deeply touched by it. And you're right, it's the back of her head, her two little braids, and then I'm in the front of the photograph, obviously speaking. And it's very humbling. It's very humbling in many ways.
Why? Why is it humbling? Like, how could it be? I can't imagine a worse message for little girls than one day you too could grow up to be the lowest polling candidate in a primary election, the most unpopular vice president in American history, and you might find yourself in a position where the elites in your party band together to drive the president out and undemocratically install you as the candidate, and that the entirety of the media and the Democrat Party machine might band together to force you into office. Is that a prideful moment for little girls all across the country? I don't understand. Honestly, after watching this interview up until this point, we're getting close. We have only a few seconds left. Congratulations, universe. You win. I miss Hillary Clinton. Like, I'm actually missing Hillary Clinton right now, because at least Hillary Clinton could answer questions. She's intelligent. She might be evil incarnate and a demon sent directly from the seventh ring of hell to destroy all that is good in the world. But she is intelligent, and she can answer questions, and she kind of knows what's going on. She understands DC. She has policy points that she can espouse. And at least she was kind of nominated by her party. But I know this is the pride and joy for little girls in America, that what they too can lie and cheat and scheme their way into being the most unpopular, undemocratically elected vice president in history, and then just forced undemocratically installed into a position. And God only knows what's coming in November, what they're gonna do in this election. But this is what little girls are supposed to aspire to be. I'm missing it. I don't get it.
Did she talk to you about it afterwards?
Oh, she had a lot to talk about. She had a lot. She listened to everything, and she listens to everything.
Give you your hot takes?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Madam Vice President, Governor Walz, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thanks for
you.
having
Thank
us.
you, Dana. Thank you.
We're done. Wow. Well, if you've been with me from the beginning, congratulations. We made it through the entire interview together. I'm very proud of all of you. As I said, it's very important that we watch things in their entirety, that we discuss them, that we debate them, that we fully digest and understand them. I don't want to make decisions on either side of the aisle based on a lack of information. For me, it wasn't until I started watching Donald Trump speeches and rallies in their entirety that I began to really fully realize the way in which the media that I'd been trusting up until that point in my life, CNN, MSNBC, New York Times, etc., was lying and deceiving, because they would just take like a soundbite, 15 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds from one of his rallies or one of his speeches, completely bend it, turn it inside out, backwards, upside down to create a completely false narrative about what he was saying or doing or what his intentions were. And so I think it's important that all of us on both sides of the aisle watch things in their entirety. And now we just did that. So I appreciate you guys hanging in with me during this stream. It hasn't changed my mind about anything at all. I don't feel, I mean, I guess she did sort of articulate some policy points about the child tax credit, about her $25,000 credit for new home buyers, and price gouging, which is essentially government price fixing, which is the fast track to communist hell, which has failed in other countries like Venezuela. So I guess those were the three things that I could take from this, although she didn't really articulate much detail about any of those things about what she plans to actually do. Other than that, it was a nonstop barrage of words, strong middle class, low inflation. What was the one a moment ago she was saying? Sovereignty and territorial integrity. Was that what it was? I mean, these are meaningless words. And then, of course, we've got her campaign of joy. Joy, 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 joy from the people who are literally the nastiest, meanest, most vicious, vile, vitriolic people on the planet. But it is their campaign of joy and truth. Sure. Guys, throw some comments in the chat before we jump off here. I'd love to know. We have over 20,000 people watching right now, which is tremendous. The vast majority of those people are on the X platform. Despite the fact that we have a huge subscribership on YouTube and Facebook, we have a grand total of about, 400 or 500 people watching on those two platforms. But on the X platform right now, we currently are sitting at what number? Where are we at? 19,000 plus on X, which is tremendous. Love it. Before we wrap up, I'm going to read some comments from you guys and take any questions that we have. But before we wrap up, I want to encourage each and every one of you, please go to X and repost my pinned post and give it a quote tweet. Please, all of you, just like take 2 minutes right now to just go to my profile and quote tweet it and say, everybody needs to watch this video and share this video before November. It's time for everyone to hashtag walk away. Please share the video, share, repost it. I'm asking you to quote post it. I'll be keeping track and seeing how many of you do that. Hopefully, there's 19,000 plus people just on X alone. It should go up by at least 1,000 if even 10% of the people watching this do that. But I worked really hard on that video for months. Many of you said it's the most important message that you've seen this year. It's the most important message that's out there right now in this election cycle. So help share it. Please share this video. Thank you. Cindy Walz says you need to do this more often. I intend to. I am going to spend a lot more time streaming. I'm also going to start probably doing a regular podcast and bringing on live guests. So many people are walking away right now. I want to be interviewing all of them. A Texas rep, Sean Theory, just recently walked away. Of course, RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard has been very outspoken. I'd love to be interviewing all of these people and doing this more regularly, so I absolutely intend to do that. Thank you. Nancy says, I think there are way... Oh my gosh, they're going so fast. Wait, sorry, Nancy, your comment just flew by. Lord, let me try to find it. I think there are way more people watching than they are telling you. That probably is true. But I also kind of feel like, what's the point? Or I mean, what's the difference if they're going to keep the view count down and keep the viewership down? Even if more people are watching, it kind of gives the impression that they're not, which is obviously frustrating and annoying. But that's leftist run tech for you, isn't it? These people have to create false illusions to constantly advance all of their agendas. Carolina says, I support you and thank you, Brandon, for all that you do, and I will continue to share your video. I want to thank you so much. Chud says, I want to know where Milo Yiannopoulos went. I'm hoping hell. I would love it if that dude burned in hell for eternity, because he is one of the most disgusting, vile pieces of shit. And he is an absolute sociopath lunatic. So if there's any justice, he will be spending eternity in hell. Let's see. I share the video daily. Fausta Rodriguez says, I want Brandon Trump interview. Yes. Wouldn't that be great? Let's all get on True Social and start tagging President Trump and tell him he needs to sit for an interview with @Brandon Strzok. I'm on True Social @Brandon Strzok. I love that idea. Let's tell President Trump he needs to sit for an interview with me. I think that's great. Repost, you were at the same time as the fever. I don't know what that means. I'm seeing chats on your screen then in the chat. Okay. Let's see. Woke equals the new type of slavery. Censorship equals new slavery, says Peter. You are absolutely correct, Peter. One of my moderators on Facebook has just posted Brandon's new walkaway video. Here is the link. If you'd like to copy and share that link on Facebook, we would love for you guys to share the video out. Again, I want to encourage all of you go on the X platform. If you're not currently following me, please give me a follow, and be sure to repost that video on. It's my pinned post on X. And also grab the YouTube link and share that out. Keep sharing that out, because it's like I don't even think it's hit 40,000 views on YouTube, which is insane, because it has over 4 million views on X, but less than 40,000 views on YouTube, which is nuts. And it's closing in on 1 million views, I think, on Facebook. So let's keep pushing that as well, which is for Facebook, and considering what a suppressed platform that is, not terrible, actually. Kind of terrible, but not terrible. Let's see. Brandon, thank you for this campaign. I walked away in 2015. Russell Schwartz says. Russell, that's awesome. So Russell, listen, make sure, dude, you enter the walkaway $10,000 testimonial video challenge. You have a chance at winning $10,000 if you share your walkaway video. Here's what you do. You go to walkawaychallenge.com. And I'm going to put that right here. Go to walkawaychallenge.com. Fill out your submission form, which takes 30 seconds. After you fill out your submission form, shoot your walkaway video, which takes 5 minutes. After you've shot your walkaway video, join the Walkaway social app, which takes 3 minutes. Join our Facebook group, which takes 30 seconds. And then you need to upload your video to the Walkaway Campaign Facebook group, the Walkaway social app, and the X platform. Those 3 things. Use the hashtag walkaway and the hashtag walkaway challenge. Boom, you're done. You've entered the contest. We'll give you $100 for being one of the first people to enter the contest. The first 50 people automatically win $100. Then the contest ends in mid-October. We'll take the top 10 entries, narrow them down to 3. On November 1st, we'll announce the winners. Third place gets $500. Second place gets $1,000, and the grand prize winner, first place, gets $10,000 for entering the Walkaway Challenge. Just go to walkawaychallenge.com. You have to do those things. You have to follow all of those steps for a qualified entry. The first 50 people with qualified entries automatically win $100. So that's what you need to be doing right now, my good friend. It is silly to have a walkaway story and not enter the walkaway challenge. All right. Let's go back to your comments in the chat. Ooh. Greg says 306 and 547 likes. I don't know what that means exactly, but probably commenting on the low viewership on YouTube and Facebook. Yep. It's been going on for years, and actually things kind of got worse after January 6th, which makes me feel like the government probably contacted the various tech platforms and told them to remove some people and to just thoroughly throttle other people. And I would imagine myself and Walkaway are in that category. Jerry Pietrala, sorry, Jerry, I know you well, but I don't know how to say your last name. Pietrala says, this is off subject, but did you get a chance to see the Reagan movie? The professional critics are bashing it, but the public is praising it online and everywhere else. I highly recommend it. I haven't had a chance to see it yet, but I actually know Penelope Ann Miller, who plays Nancy Reagan in that movie, is a personal friend. I look forward to seeing it very much, and I have no doubt that it's great. The critics do this all the time. Anytime there's a movie that has any type of conservative bend, they absolutely trash it. I can only imagine Dinesh D'Souza's movie probably have like 0 to 1% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. But yeah, unsurprising. If it's a movie about Reagan and something that's going to have some sort of like conservative tie-in or to popularity, of course they're going to trash it and bash it. That's what they do. Someone said there should be a movie about you, Brando. Jane Gusfeld says, maybe someday. We'll see. I actually intend to create my own docuseries after we get through the election, because there's a lot to tell. I want to do probably a 5-part docuseries that I'm going to produce myself. It's going to talk about, 1, the reason why I walked away from the left; 2, the creation of Walkaway and our, those initial years, the growth and success of the movement, the highs and lows; 3, talk about what the truth of what actually happened on January 6th and my actual story, not the government's narrative, not the left-wing media's narrative, but the actual truth of what happened. And then 4, talk about the fallout and what happened to me as a result and consequence of being tied into January 6th and the way I was targeted. Through 5, the coming out the other end and what the future brings. And also, I'm going to tell the true story about the internal sabotage that I've endured from the right. From the very beginning, even before January 6th, a lot of people are under the mistaken impression that we're all on the same team, and nothing could be more untrue. I would say that I have faced just as much sabotage, backlash, blacklisting, interference, you name it, from powerful influencers on the right as I have people on the left. Because the truth is, it's all kind of a game of commerce on the right. The right-wing influencers, now many of them work together, many of them band together, which gives this illusion of camaraderie and this illusion of teamwork. But the truth is, they've all kind of got their own internal network that works together, because the bottom line is earning money. Whether it's through selling products, whether it's from earning donors and donations for their nonprofits and their organizations. But there's this belief that if somebody else is successful who's not a part of their network, or if there's another organization that's doing well, then the people who have powerful organizations and have powerful networks want to destroy those people. And I kept my mouth shut about it for years because I didn't want to rock the boat. And because anytime that anybody speaks out and says something, the conservative audience starts going crazy and saying, like, stop rocking the boat, stop the infighting, stop the, blah, 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 blah. And so that's why people keep quiet about this stuff, and it's allowed to happen. And I'm not going to say anything today because I want to just get through this election. I don't want to be accused in any way, shape, or form of, oh my God, you rocked the boat leading up to the election and therefore ... But I'm going to completely tell the truth when the election's over about all of the various personalities on the right who actively tried to sabotage me, tried to sabotage Walkaway. It's going to be really shocking, I think, for a lot of you out there, because I'm sure you're under the impression that a lot of these people are good people. They certainly have not been good people to me or my organization. But I'm going to make a very honest docuseries when we get through the election about everything that has happened. Doug Brown says, I got trolled by someone that works for the wine company I have been doing demos for, and they reported my political comments to corporate office in California and was told to stop my posts about Joe Biden and Kamala or I would lose my job. After 2 days, I made the decision to leave said job, which I loved. Don't tell me how to think and don't give me ultimatums because I decide on my own agenda. Wow. Don't know if you saw this post that I did earlier. That is incredible, Doug. Holy shit. That's amazing. And honestly, I find that to be heroic. Anybody who's willing to step away from their job and a job that they love because they're unwilling to compromise their principles is a hero in my book. So I want to say thank you for everything you've done, Doug, to stand up for free speech. Thank you for everything that you've done to stand up for your values and integrity. Our country is going to absolute hell because people are afraid to stand up, speak the truth, and rock the boat. I deeply admire people like you who stick their neck out and face a very serious consequence for doing the right thing. So absolutely stellar that you did that, Doug, and congratulations. And I appreciate the sacrifice that will cause for you and your family. But we need more people like you to stand up and do the right thing. And I applaud you for that. We have 20,500 people watching the stream right now, which is tremendous. Brandy says, I'm brand new on here, just woke up and think this election is imperative. As I view the election as I view more and more, I'm shocked by the sheer violence and hatred towards the right from the left and the mainstream media. How do you deal with and respond to those? Or is there even a point? Is there a way to get through to people like that? No, there isn't. I mean, and this is me saying this as somebody who started the walkaway movement. You know, we obviously our goal and our why can't I think? Our goal is to try to reach as many people on the left as possible to wake them up, get them thinking for themselves, and walk away from groupthink, tribal mentality, but also vitriol, violence, hatred, division. We want to restore some sense of civility to political discussion and an appreciation that we have diversity of thought and diversity of opinion in this country. That's what we're trying to do. But we also recognize that there are a substantial number of people who, at least at this point, are not savable. We're not trying to save everybody. It's impossible. But there are enough people, I think, that have been pushed to the borderline, who are kind of hanging on by a thread, who recognize that something's wrong with the left. We can extend a hand and we can reach those people. We can wake them up and we can encourage them to join our community. That's what we do. But there are definitely people who just absolutely exist solely for the purpose of hating other people, of spreading misery, of spreading destruction, of spreading lies to destroy people's names and reputations, to try to destroy and discredit people, to try to have people criminally prosecuted, to have people arrested and destroyed and have their freedom removed, to have their voices removed, to have them silenced and censored. These are bad people with bad intentions who have found an outlet for their inherent and intrinsic hatred in the Democratic Party and in this ideology of leftism and Marxism that they're so attracted to. These people are beyond redemption at this point. Maybe someday and maybe somehow they can be reached, but there's definitely a significant sect of people who we're not even trying to reach at this point because they're unreachable. And we just have to win at this point. That's it. Let's see what else you guys are saying. I've been talking a lot for the last 2 hours. Wow. And so my voice is getting a little tired, and I may need to take a break soon. But we've got over 21,000 people watching right now. Please, I want to encourage all of you to please go to the X platform, go to my pinned post, give it another repost, give it a quote repost, and encourage other people to watch it and share it. Yeah, see, this is what makes me feel like X is kind of full of shit too, because according to X, it hasn't gotten a single repost with 21,000 of you. Like, can someone throw a comment in the chat and just say, like, hey, I just quote posted it or I just reposted it just to prove that these numbers are not accurate? That makes no sense whatsoever. 2 minutes ago, someone put 6 minutes ago, 12 minutes ago, 13 minutes ago, 14 minutes. Yeah, I mean, you guys, like, so the numbers are not going up. You guys are reposting this and the numbers are not going up on X. It's such. See, this bugs me. It's very clear that there's still like bad coding issues on X that are manipulating the numbers going way back. I mean, that's like literally the numbers of reposts, including quote posts, have not gone up by 1, and you guys are reposting it. So it's total bull crap. I hope that Elon Musk looks into that, because I think there's issues with the platform that go far beyond what he even realizes. I think that there's a lot of bad code that is still suppressing people's growth. It's suppressing people's reach, and it's suppressing the numbers of people who've actually reposted. Chanel just said, I reposted. Lucy said, in the past days, I probably reposted 5 times at least. Jared says, I quote posted. Jerry says, I have a feeling X is still infested with leftists and Elon Musk is trying to sort things out on that. I hope so. Listen, you guys, this has been a lot of fun, but I have been streaming live now for over 2 hours, talking a lot. I'm getting a little tired, and I want to go get a bite to eat. It's Labor Day Sunday. I want to get out of the house, enjoy what's going on out there. This has been a lot of fun, though, and I'm going to do this more often. Do you guys want to do this more often? Before I get off, let's see. I want to see if 10 of you tell me that you would like me to stream more often and do this with you. What do you guys think? Yes or no? Who wants to see me do more streaming, do this with you guys more often? We could do this on a regular day, at a regular time, and help build and grow our audience so this becomes a regular part of what we do. Would you guys like that? Would you guys like to do a regular stream on a regular day at a regular time so that we can always meet each other at the same time on at least one day a week at the same time and always be here? Look at all of you guys. Yes. See, this is what makes me believe that there's obviously an issue with these platforms. Look at all of you guys. I know that if all of you guys are answering me and saying yes, that probably means you went on X and shared the video. But according to X, the numbers don't go up. So that makes no sense. No sense whatsoever. Okay. All right. Well, Patriots, I love you guys dearly. I want you all to have a very beautiful Labor Day weekend. Enjoy. Have a lovely barbecue, pig out. If you're fortunate enough to have people in your lives who love you, enjoy the time with the people who love you. If you're like me and you don't have anybody in your life who loves you, well, I guess you're shit out of luck, just like I am. But that's okay. Sometimes people who don't have anybody who love them are the most interesting people, and everybody's just jealous, and that's why. Okay, that's what we'll tell ourselves. So if you're out there and nobody loves you, you're probably like me, and everyone's just jealous. Just playing. All right, love you guys. Have a great Labor Day weekend. I'll keep in touch with you. Oh, hey, one more thing. Last thing. Join our email list. Okay? Join our email list so that we can reach out to you, because obviously there's a lot of you watching on you're on Facebook, you're on X, you're on YouTube. Everybody's scattered all over the place. do me a favor right now. Go to walkawaycampaign.com and sign up for our email list, walkawaycampaign.com. And if you do that, also sign up for our texting list, please. But if you do that, then we can reach out to you. And, oh, yeah, sorry. I know this is terrible. I did such a good job, and now I'm like all over the place. Everybody right now, sign up for our texting list. Text the word walk to, let me see what our texting list is. Hold on one second. Oh God, I should know what our short code is. Please don't give up on me. Don't jump off the thing yet. Hold on. Stay with me. Stay with me. I've got to find our short code for walkaway. 5151. Oh God. Don't jump off yet, you guys. I know this is the worst ending. Short code. Let's see if I type in the word short code. Come on, please. Short code. I can't remember what our short code is to sign up. Does anyone remember our short code? 59203? Thank you, Maxine. Maxine to the rescue. Okay, hold on. Let me make sure that's correct. 59203. Is that correct? Yes. Thank you, Maxine. You guys, if you text the word walk to 59203, you can sign up for our texting list. 59203. Text the word walk. And then what we can do in the future is once I set up the regular day and the regular time to go live with all of you, we can just shoot you guys a text and say, hey, we're going live in 5 minutes. Jump on. So text the word walk to 59203. It doesn't cost you anything. You can sign up for our texting list. 59203. Text the word walk. That's it. Thank you, Maxine, to the rescue. Love all of you guys. Have a great Labor Day. Sign up for our texting list. Go to walkawaycampaign.com and enter the Walkaway Challenge, for God's sake. If you go to walkawaycampaign, shut up. If you go to walkawaycampaign.com, there's information there about how you can sign up for the Walkaway Challenge. All right? And with that, I'm going to jump off my live stream. I mean, are we kidding right now? It's my computer literally just went crazy. All right. Great. Have a great Labor Day. Love you guys. Take care. We'll chat soon. Bye-bye. Text walk to 59203. 592